Hello everyone and welcome to this another episode of Supplementary Videos. My name is Kasanas. Guys, in this video we're going to take a look at a different type of loop. We're going to take a look at the while and the do while loops. Alright, let's get started. Okay guys, just like in the other videos, I've gone through and I've created myself a game object that's going to hold the script. I've created a script here called the while example script. I'm going to double click. I'm going to open it up. Here is the while example script. The only thing in here right now, besides the start and the update, is this initial integer that I've created called max value. And we're just going to add this right into the start function. There's no point in actually creating a bunch of other functions for this. We've already explored those ideas. So we're going to start off right away by looking at the while loop. And the while loop works very similarly to the for loop. The only difference is there can be some problems that are created with the while loop. So let's take a look at this for now. We're going to start off right away by creating ourselves a while loop, and I'm going to say while, and you can see right away it says while true. That could be a really big problem right there. So we're not going to actually do that. We're not going to say while true, but we're going to talk about what's wrong with that in just one second. What we're going to do is actually, before we start this while, let me delete this for now. I'm going to create an integer j. So I'm going to say right here, int j, and we're going to set it equal to a value of 0. Okay, and I have max value up here set to an equal value of 5. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add in here a while loop, and I'm going to say while, and I'm going to actually do exactly what it says here. While j is less than the maximum value. So while j is less than max value, j starts off as 0 and it goes to 5. I want something to happen. And just like our for loop, we're going to add some braces in here, and anything that we create within these braces is going to be run X number of times, or J number of times, I should say. So the first thing we're going to do right away is we're going to say J++. And what this does, it's the same thing as saying J equals J plus 1. This is exactly the same thing. You can write either one of these. So all we're doing is we're adding to the value of J. Okay, I don't know why I use J. I just randomly chose J. I normally start with I, but anyway, we did J. J++. So this is just incrementing J. So it comes in the while loop and it adds the number to J. What I'm going to do is just before I add the number to J, I'm going to just print out this. I'm going to print out quotations J is, and I'm going to have a space, and I'm going to have a plus sign, and I'm going to print the value of J, and that's it. Okay, so there's a couple things that are really super important that I've done in here. First of all, with this while loop, I've set it up so that I have a definite ending condition. I can change the value of max value, and that will change how many times I go through this while loop. But I have a definite ending point. As long as this value, as long as this, this comparison right here evaluates to true, this while loop will continue to operate. So as long as j is less than 5, in our particular case, as it goes around and around, as long as j is less than 5, it's going to print out the value of j. Let's right now just simply file, save this, and let's move it out of the way and check it out. Let's get our console up. I don't have to clear that every time. I don't know why I keep clearing it. I just don't like seeing those warnings. All right, it's set up to clear. All right, there we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we stopped as long as j was less than a particular value. All right, let's stop this. Okay, so right away, and let's drag this back. All right, right away we can see that this operated exactly kind of the same way that a for loop did. Now, one of the issues that a while loop has is we run into the danger of having an infinite loop. If this value, let's say j is set somewhere else, or let's say this maximum value is changing, or something occurs here, even if we just put the value of true in here, like it originally suggested, if we put the value of true in here, we would enter into this loop and we would never leave. Okay, we have the danger of creating what's called an infinite loop. We don't run that danger with a for loop because we've set conditions. Well, I guess theoretically we could if we manipulate if we manipulate some of the values within the conditional statements within the for loop, we could do it too, but it's much more difficult to do in a for loop. Here, you might use a while. Let's say you want to set this up so that you have a turn-based game, and as long as the number of turns is less than a certain value, you want to keep having the turns, or maybe you want to keep doing something until something else occurs. If I remove this and just put true in here, not true in here, this would evaluate forever. This would cause a crash. My system would crash. I'd have to start the video over again. I'd be really upset. So that would be really sad. What I could do is I could add a if statement in here and add a break statement that would allow me to jump out. We talked about break statements in a previous video. We could add a break statement in here that would allow us to jump out of a while true loop. Okay, but you have to have some way of exiting it. If you do not have some way of exiting this, you'll be caught in an infinite loop and your system will crash. Unity will not come out of it, no matter how many times you hit pause or anything else or stop within the editor. It's not going to come out of it. It's just going to stay in bad shape. It's just going to wreck your day. All right. So let's put this back here. So let's check something out here. Well, I'm going to put this max value here back to max value. All right, so as long as j is less than max value, this is going to operate. Watch what happens if I set j to a value of 6. Okay, I'm going to file save this. And I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm sure you know what's going to happen. We've set the value equal to 6. It's already larger than the maximum value, so we're not going to see anything printed. So I'm going to hit play here. And as expected, we see nothing at all printed. Okay, so it's operating exactly like we want. It comes into this line of code. It evaluates this condition. It says, okay, we're outside of the parameters of this condition, and therefore I'm not going to operate anything in here, exactly like we expected. This brings us to a second type of while loop called the do while loop. And similar to a while loop, it's going to operate in the same way, where we have some condition that is going to cause us to exit. And again, it can have the exact same issue where we run into an infinite loop and we never get out of it, and our entire system crashes. So that's pretty upsetting. So in the do while loop, very similarly, in the do while loop, we have the do statement. And it starts with the do statement. We have our braces, and then we add our while statement right down here after our second brace. So let's do the same thing. We have exactly the same thing here. J is less than max value. And we're going to remove this, and we're going to put in our semicolon. Okay, so once again, what we want to do is we want to print the value of J. Okay, let's grab this. Actually, you know what? We'll use the value of I instead. I'm going to say yeah, let's do the int I here. Int I, just so we get two loops happening. Or, I'll just reset the value of j down here. That's what I'll do. So we're going to skip over this loop we already know. I'm going to say j is equal to, and I'm going to say j is equal to 0. Okay, so again, all I've done here is I've reset the value of j. We're expecting it to come up here, and we're expecting it to print our value of j inside of our do loop. Okay, so j is equal to 0 here. We're going to come in here, j is equal to 0. It's going to go through, it's going to print, it's going to keep doing this over and over again. Now, again, we have to increment our value of j to make sure that we do not enter into an infinite loop. So we come in, we print j, we increment j, we check our condition, we keep going around and around and around. Okay, with j equal to 6 up here, we're going to ignore this. Nothing's going to be printed for this. So let's actually just put in a print statement to make this a little easier. Print quotations while loop. All right. And then, oops, and then we'll see that there's nothing there. And then we're going to print, before we go into the do while loop, we're going to print do while loop. All right, just so we can see that what's being printed when. Let's file save this. Okay, file save this. Let's move this out of the way. Now, we had j equal to 6. We're not expecting anything from the while loop, but we are expecting the do while loop to operate like we expect. Okay, let's take a look. So we can see right here that we entered the while loop. There's nothing printed. The do while loop, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that operated exactly the same way as the while loop. So that's pretty interesting. Let's stop this and drag our code back. Now let's take a look at what the big difference between the do while and the while loop is. So with the while loop, we are evaluating right now, we're evaluating as soon as we enter into the while loop. Is j less than the maximum value? If it isn't, we jump out. Watch what happens if I change j equal to a value of 6 here. Okay, I'm going to file save this. And I'm going to run it. So right now, j has a value of 6, which is greater than our max value. Let's move this out of the way, and let's hit play. Okay, here's what we see. We see that the while loop didn't run but the do while loop actually printed out the value of j. Let's stop this, drag it back, and explore why. Okay, if we take a look at the do while loop, j is set to a value of 6. We encounter the do. We then enter into the braces, so there's no conditional statement here. We enter into the braces. We print out what j is equal to. We then evaluate j++. We then come into here. We check to see if, so we've printed it out. We've incremented the value. We check after it's gone through all of this. We check the value of j. It's actually equal to 7 right now, which is greater than the max value. So we exit out. But the do while loop actually went through and actually ran all of the code at least once. There's no conditional statement that's checked before the code is run. The difference between the while loop and the do while loop is the do while loop will always run regardless of the conditions down here. The do while loop will always run at least once, whereas the while loop checks its condition before running and exits out if the condition is not met. All right. That's it, guys. That's all we're going to do with the do while and the while loop. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that made sense to you. I hope this is making sense. All of these videos are making sense to my students. That's the most important thing. Everybody else out there, I hope you're enjoying it. All right. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below. And if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.